talk to me about your your sentiment on Nike here, sir. Where you at with Nike? Trash ass company.
Word. That's how you feel. How many Nikes you got in your closet, my man?
I got a lot of Jordans, motherfucker.
All of them. You see my background, goddammit. There's some Adidas right there.
You got some Pumas.
Everything else is Nike and Jordan.
I see the 6 section looking like trash as always.
Where? Point out my 6 section, sir. Where is it?
It's to the lower. It's to the lower right, so it would be your lower left.
No, sir. That is my 3 section.
So the 6 section is out of sight. Perfect. Perfect.
It's actually, I think it's in this section because I had to reshuffle them.
I appreciate you, sir.
So, but you see, you see these right here?
Yeah. Those are the animal joints 3.0s?
The Animal Instinct 2.0.
2.0.
Well, those, they're not even like an OG colorway. But I fucking love those. So, I don't know what people's problem was. I think it was the price. What
was the MSRP?
The price was like hold on.
And that's because of the material, right?
The material isn't even that serious. $250.
That's up there.
It is, which is why I goated these shits for a lesser price. So
right.
I think I spent under the price. I don't know how far. They were like either 2 something. Yeah, they were over 2, but they were under 250. So
okay,
I'm like, all right.
Sometimes
whatever.
you just connect.
Yeah, for sure.
Connect with a pair. You connect with a pair. What are you gonna say?
And I really loved. I feel like the colors, I feel like they look like mallards on my feet, like ducks.
That's hilarious.
You know what I'm saying? They really do. They look like it's everything is a mallard color.
Are you
it's
a Sex and the City fan?
I couldn't get into it, but I did start the movie.
You remember that episode with the mallard, the duck?
Yeah.
With Charlotte? That's what went off in my mind. Get into Sex and the City, son. What are you doing with your life?
We'll see.
All right.
So, but on to more. So it's before I go into the actual topic. It's the day of. So these shits are coming. It's like Saturday morning. So I don't know. Me and the wife. God damn it. Me and the wife, we're bickering about something. And what happened was it was the night before we went to sleep and we woke up because they say don't go to bed angry. Angry. Listen, sometimes you got to go to sleep angry.
I'm king of that shit. Angry. All right, king of that.
What I'm saying? And because you want to know why, sometimes you need that time to sleep, relax. Maybe it's sleep that you need to get your mind right.
No, I'm angry in my dreams. We fighting in my dreams too.
I ain't angry in my dreams. God damn it, I need something to keep me level headed. At the end of the day, so now I look at the time. In fact, I want to say this might have been one of the days. One of the Saturdays, I think we talked about recording. I don't remember. It was something, it might have been one of the days we were supposed to record on, whatever. I think it was like the 17th of July, something. And I'm here. I'm where I am on the screen. I'm right here.
It sounds like an L coming up.
So she stops by, walks by the door, and she, whatever, and she's like, so such and such and such and such, like, like, are you feeling okay at this point in time? I'm like, I'm good, I didn't, whatever.
Oh, that's cool. No issues unresolved.
Yeah, no, hold, sir. So the time is 9:30. So if you know, listen, I got my food. I have the computer screens on.
You try to create good energy.
I have my phone in hand. I'm like, yo, it's about to be go time for these shits.
You getting your chi right.
Everything, because you need chi to win.
That's the only way. That's the only way.
So I'm figuring, all right, she wants to talk about it. I got enough.
You got some time.
I got some time. Plus, she was getting ready for work. So I'm like, ooh, all right, you about to be about your business, so I'm gonna be about mine, but we can chop it up.
Just let everybody know everybody good.
What is this? What is the funny shit on the YouTube shit? 45 minutes later.
Now, for those of you who don't know what's happening here, if you want any pair of Nikes, Jordans, or whatever, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock is when your punk ass needs to be at attention. Or you will hold a mega L.
5 minutes too. So
yeah.
Mind you, this was a draw. So I have an additional 10 minutes, well, 9 minutes, because you want to get, I have an additional time. I could have still talked and been like, okay, it's 10:05. I'll put my throw my hat into this, what do you call it, at 10:05, 10:06. Fam, a whole 45 minutes from the point she sat down to have the conversation, son, and I'm
so you at like 10:15, 10:20 now.
I'm at about 10:20, about 10:20, 10:25. It would say about maybe 9:35 when she sat down.
Okay.
About 10:25. Son, and my phone is going. I hear my phone vibrate, and I have my watch on, so my watch is vibrating, and I'm like, "What the fuck is shit going on? What's going on?"
Right.
But I'm involved with the conversation.
Right. That's good though. Son, that's good because it says to me that you were present in your relationship.
Absolutely. I didn't want to fucking be present in my relationship at that time, son. I wanted to, son. I not only did I miss, because I'm thinking, I know I'm lying. I looked at the time. I actually logged on. I said, holy fucking shit. We've been talking for this long. I said, I logged on to Nike. I thought it was maybe a 20 minute, what do you call it?
It was 15, the 20-minute draw.
No, it was 10.
Oh, it was 15 last time for the Travis Scotts, it was 15.
You know, honestly, I don't even know, because guess who wasn't on Nike Sneakers app to find out how long the fucking draw was.
So you took an L.
Up. I took a L.
A capital calligraphy L.
In quotation, I took the L train all the way to Soho, just to pick up that wooden L that they sell at the arts and crafts store.
Oh, fuck.
I took the L train all the way, and the L train doesn't go to fucking Soho.
That's hilarious.
So I said, hey, how do I make a podcast topic out of this fucking soliloquy? So I was just like, well, the question kind of sort of is, has fashion, in brackets Nike, finally tapped into women's apparel? And example ergo, Off-White and the Jordan 4s. The L I took. Is this sneaker, and this is kind of the second question, is this the sneaker of the year that just so happens to be a woman's sneaker, again, in empowering women? So in that time frame, when I came up with this particular topic, I was just like, I was kind of sort of in woman mode. Like I was just like, so for the woman at that point in time, even though it was a woman that thwarted me from buying these fucking sneakers.
Yeah.
But I was just like, companies, particularly like Nike and Reebok and Adidas, they now are really engaged with women's apparel when it comes to sportswear. Like other companies, it was either a woman's brand or other companies that made clothes that made like, let's say for instance Gucci and Louis, like, excuse me, they seem to have a section dedicated to women. When you click, I guarantee if you go to Louis Vuitton right now, the first character you see will be a woman.
Well, you got to remember those. Traditionally speaking, fashion houses target women.
Right.
Their core customer is women.
Mm-hmm.
So particularly Louis Vuitton.
Right.
Most of the LVMH brands. So, and Gucci, likewise.
Gucci, Fendi.
Because remember, if you look at their best-selling products, a top 20 list, most of it is handbags. It's silhouettes of handbags. So this doesn't apply. Your question doesn't apply to luxury fashion. It also doesn't apply to fashion per se. But I know you're talking about that our culture of fashion.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're stepping up to the plate now.
Absolutely. Take, like, for instance, I think it may have started first with Adidas. I'm not quite sure. However, to see, it was always men, sportswear.
Yeah.
Then women.
Right, because that's where the culture derived from. It was athletic wear.
And even though, like, when you think about the tennis, so Adidas, and what's another company. Adidas basically is one of those companies that started off as making where we get the term tennis shoes.
I wanted to say Converse, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
No, Converse was
Reebok.
Basketball
Reebok
shoes.
Was tennis too, no?
No.
Oh, they were aerobics?
Reebok was aerobic. It's another company that has to do with Adidas. Like, they were brothers, and they branched off, and one came.
Not Puma.
One started one. It might have been Puma. You have these, but like the right now companies, like your top 3 or 4, you got Adidas, you have Nike, Adidas, Reebok, so on and so forth. When it comes to, first of all, sportswear for any of those companies is a rather new thing. It hasn't been when it came to sportswear from a Nike or Adidas perspective, that was usually left to the other companies, like for instance, maybe a Levi or a Champion, or those other companies that founded their company on apparel and less a sneaker.
Yep.
Here you have a sneaker company that founded their company on sneakers,
moving into
transitioned into apparel. Right. So it started off with men, and now it is slowly but surely, it's still not there. It's still not there like it should be when it comes to women getting their shine. So now you understand where my thought process was about the initial topic.
I got you.
All right. How when it comes to the woman, our what they we like to refer to as our better half, how much attention do we give? Yeah, right. How much attention do we give to women, and is it given equally? You understand what I'm saying? Like, there is still a lot of unequal amounts of things, when it comes to men and women. Whereas a woman has this much, has 45%, and a man still has 50%. And is it okay to say, oh, well, we're making strides? Or is it, no, we should be 50-50 when it comes to these things. So now bring it back to Nike. Now you have the release of the Off-White Air Jordan 4s, possibly the best fucking sneaker of 2020. And it's a woman's sneaker.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's a statement.
Yeah, a man can wear it. It's a monotone color. It's a off-white creamish color.
You can wear it if you got small feet.
No.
I can get my size 11.
No. I'm going to get to that. This is where the fucking disparity starts. To the first question, has Nike finally tapped into women's apparel? I think so. Can you guys agree?
I mean,
from a cultural stance, because they always had women's apparel.
Not like today.
I mean, in my opinion, today.
Not like today. Think East Bay.
Yeah, but that's East 90s. Bay. East Bay is curating what they want to sell. They're going after a demographic. That don't mean that Nike didn't make the shit.
Right. Okay. Then think Nike. Think Nike from the early 90s. And then
their
think
marketing
Nike now.
Has been the same since I was a young buck when it comes to the women's apparel. Like, in my opinion, they lost out when, was it the late 90s? Is when they lost out on being on that, because the one thing that women have that men don't have, and this is all like a mental thing, is the freedom of choice of wearing whatever is not a label. They can go and put the yoga pants on. They can go put these sports bras on and all this other stuff on, and it don't really matter what it is. Most times when you see them, it's like, okay, well, the team is wearing this if we're playing that avenue. If it's just your everyday runner or jogger, they go based according to that. Else is about what they can find. What was that spot that was on near 860 Broadway? I used to work over there, Paragon or something like that. Like, they were in 2000, 2001, they were the biggest thing according to New York City. I don't want to speak for everybody, but in this city where fashion is still being like the mecca of, for whatever reason, there were women walking around with the Paragon stuff. And it was, if you know, you know. The next set was whatever they could get their hands on. What was popping? Why we wear Nike sneakers? That's just what's popping. We can't tell you why. We don't understand why. And now it's conditioning. But over time, like even what I have on right now, this isn't nobody's Nike. This isn't anyone's Under Armour. This isn't anyone knows, right? So the freedom for the women on that nose has just been so astronomical. So towards the late 90s, that's when I started seeing them branch off to like with these little mesh see-through tops with the crops and this, that, and the third, trying to get pretty, trying to get cute. In my opinion, from what I can see, and it's not the factual, it's just from based on what I can see, it didn't really work. Those who wore, those who didn't wear it had stuff in other avenues that they can get. And shout out to, Denise, who's been keeping chicks popping in New York City for I don't know how long. Now, what about their sneaker game? Because they've always been a shoe game for women. The sneaker game for women, in my opinion, you know, some could say 54-11 size 7 girls. I just think that was just what everybody wore, right? That was their Air Force One or Uptowns, whatever you want to call it. I'd say, and again, speaking on New York City, and I can almost say it kind of worked in Massachusetts with Boston too, based on when I met them later, was Jordans. Right? Jordans was just a thing, hands down. Like, chicks wear whatever they want to wear, and they throw some J's on their feet to the point to where in our generation, it is not weird to see a chick pull up her wedding dress and some J's on her feet. It's like, it's nothing to us. Like, we almost expect it. It's like, oh, you got on these expensive shoes? I'd rather see some J's. Like, where's the J's? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So on that note, it's kind of hard for me to be like, have they not? No, in my opinion, they've been doing it. They just lost on major opportunities to be the square center of it, right? If we're going to talk about apparel from on the feet, to me, they've not done enough. They've not done enough. They've not done enough, nowhere near enough. Even if we want to take the men's sneakers and just say like, well, did y'all ever make the colors that are more, not feminine, attractive to women? Because they fall out. Even I know homegirls of mine that wore the ACGs, they wore in the bows, they wore the cross trainers, they wore them all. But for us, you know, we wore the colors that we wore, and a lot of them were tied into the how do you say, to the sports teams that we rocked out with, right? Well, what about that palette for the women? There have been women's sports teams. You know what I mean? Where's the Statue of Liberty AFOs? You know what I'm saying? Or Hirachis or anything like that. Like, and when I mean Statue of Liberty, I mean the Lady Liberties. You get what I'm saying? Like, for the Knicks, the women, the Knicks had colors and everything. But where's the women's versions of that for the Lady Liberty team? How they have it for the Storm? How they had it for those other things? Because guess who plays fucking sports on a professional level? Fucking women. So it's like, you don't even give them that opportunity where you could have been doing them. You know where I saw women defaulting to whenever it wasn't an all black or all white sneaker? Sad to say, Asics. And Asics have 3 to 4 colors down there that just speaks to women, especially when it comes down to running track. It's those 4 essential neon colors that they rock. And I'm not even an expert in it, but this is just me, my mind marking, and I noticed what I noticed. Those 4 essential colors, neon-based colors, where anytime you see a woman doing anything, they have on at least one of those 4, unless they just happen to be either all black, all blue, navy blue, by the way, and they rocking those darker colors, which is not even a gender-related thing. So, to me, when it comes to sneakers, every release is about a chick getting... I know, actually, I'm going to shout her out. Her name is, I'm going to call her Robo, Chef Robo, right? Her sneaker game her sneaker game in the last 2 years. It's been way beyond that, but I'm just going to pick her sneaker game in the last 2 years, because if I go any longer that, it's horrendous for what the comparisons. Her sneaker game in the last 2 years has been better than my sneaker game my entire life, and I don't participate. It's equivalent to what you guys carry. You get what I'm saying? And if you go through her lineup, it's been stuff that's been deemed as men's basketball, men's this, men's that. How come the women don't have anything that was women's first that we are getting into? They've never really fully invested into that. And some gonna say, oh, well, we didn't have the market. That's BS. Because we all know that Nike is not a U.S. company in terms of all their sales are from here. They're an international company. They should sell everywhere. And Absolutely. You know what's been popping off in sports? Women's basketball has been popping off in sports for a very long time. Shout out to the GOATs, Cheryl Miller and Lisa Leslie. You get what I'm saying? So it's like...
I actually met her too.
She's
Lisa
awesome,
Leslie.
right?
Cool,
awesome.
Cool people.
And it's like...
But you still trashing Baltimore. Carry on.
And it's like, y'all could have been doing that.
You get your ass on a court.
You could have been pulling that off. You know what I'm saying? They could have been making them sneakers. Does anyone know of Jenna Tarazi, who is the modern GOAT, right? Does she have sneakers? Do we know what they look like? Do the women who are just sneaker collectors, shoe collectors, do they know that these sneakers exist? And in my opinion, they leaving money on the table to that. Yeah, there was a period of time where they made like the casual shoe, but then who the casual shoe is aimed at? Us. Why you ain't aiming at them? You know what they did with us? They made sneaker boots for us. They made ACG boots.
I was a avid purchaser
Yes, you
of
was.
ACG boots.
You most
you
definitely
know what's
was.
crazy? I wanted to get those so bad, but I was like, yo, fam, I already buy your sneakers. Like, I ain't trying to buy boots too. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to keep the parity somewhere, right? The balance somewhere. But it's just one of those things to where, due to, like, when you even go to the store, if you're still walking to stores, do you even look at what's on the woman's wall? Son, on the woman's...
Is there a woman's
yeah,
wall?
it's still there. It's still there.
Yeah.
Never noticed it.
Women and kids.
Yeah, on
women
the
and
same
kids
side,
on the same
right?
side.
I never really noticed it.
and
Or
yeah,
exclusive.
and I've been saying this for the past maybe 12 years. It's on the sneakers for men across the board is trash. That's why all these retros are selling, because they're trash. But you know who sneakers, design wise, have not been trash? The women. But the problem is, we don't see that because we ain't paying attention. We ain't looking. I pay attention because I always want to see what's up. They got a pair of sneakers over there that if I could wear those, I would. Absolutely would wear them. And they don't even I don't even think they made them the size. And I think it was like 1 or 2 colors in there that I'd have nothing with. Like, and it has nothing to do with their colors. Like, I have a pair of black, white, and yellow dunks that I do not wear because I can't wear with anything that I have other than a Batman shirt that I almost never wear.
So you probably got the Wu-Tang dunks.
Listen,
they high.
don't be trying to line me up, fam.
Fucking hype
Hey,
beast.
Get out of here, fam.
I knew
Get
it.
out of here.
I knew
Get
it.
out of here.
Man,
Thank you,
I
Tawann.
might have to take a trip up
Well
there,
done,
man.
Tawann. Well
Get out of
done.
here. So
I knew it.
for instance, the Nike Air Force One Shadows, right? Those are dope.
Yes.
You don't know they exist unless you going into the store with your woman. And then even if, you better hope that you don't sit down on your Jimmy Jazz and go like this into your phone because you're so tired. You're like, yo, I'm going to go look over here in the men's section. You will never see it. You will never see it. And to me, that's a dope show, but that's a dope shoe. But guess what? The Nike Air Force Ones has been deemed a male sneaker for how long? When they've always had the sneaker. So they've never put real emphasis on it. It just is like, oh, here's these colors. And then a dude go looking for these colors and someone in the store at Foot Locker or Jimmy Jazz or Vim, shout out to Vims, or Dr. J, shout out to Dr. J's, would be like, nah, fam, those are women's sneakers. What's your size we don't have your size in men. So you can't even get the exposure that way because now the dudes who want to get those sneakers can't get them because they're not always girl colors. You know, they just happen to be a dope combination of colors. And again, today, where I'm not a fan of all these wild colors, but what I love about everyone today, that they can wear any color they want on their feet. Any color. Even colors that are just look like confetti on some trash sneakers. And that's your prerogative to wear trash sneakers. It's okay. Right?
Tawann's triggered. He's got a few sixes that look like confetti.
It's okay. You know what I mean? Because I don't like it doesn't mean you can't love it. You know? There are some sneakers like the 07 LXs are just trash. I think those are universally trash, and that's fine if you don't feel that way. But I just don't think that they've done enough service for women in the shoe department. Because when you walk in New York City and you see, if we forget about the stuff that isn't the main brands, and the main brands is me being biased, right? And I'm talking about Adidas, Nike, Puma, Reebok, all that. When you do see a Nike product, including Jordan, it's what you expect. You don't ever look at some chick and be like, yo, what the fuck are those? Unless you just ain't up on the latest pair of J's. You get what I'm saying? Or Dunks. Like, for instance, if you saw a chick rocking, I don't know, the React Hyper sets, right? And you saw those on on some chick feet, and you'd be like, damn, what the hell? Especially if you play ball, you be like, damn, what the hell are those? You gonna walk up and tap shorty. When's the last time you done tapped a shorty on her shoulder? Like, yo, where you get those from? What are those? Never.
Yeah, because I want to know what her number is. I don't fuck what she wearing.
I'm not interested.
I've always told a woman, your shoe game is crazy.
Shoe game or sneaker game?
And what's your number?
Well, I'm saying because it's word for word. It
All right,
means the
cool.
same
But
to
what
me.
was the sneaker? But what was the
It
sneaker?
means the same to me.
Something that you had access to, right?
At the time, it was like an Air Max. It was like it. It was a while ago. So, and this person every time wore a different pair of sneakers. Whether it was mostly men's sneakers, but it was just like, yo, her shit is.
But that's my point. Like Nike has not done a great job with that. At one point, I thought the Puma sneaker, the main sneaker. At one point, I used to think like, are those women's sneakers? Because that would be the one thing that I saw. The only clear sneaker I remember outside of some Air Maxes that I remember just be like, yo, these are definitely chick sneakers, is the 5411s. That's it.
Right. So, Ramon, do you have anything to add to that? Because
I can't answer that question. I don't disagree with you guys, but I don't agree either.
You're just a hater.
So, I mean, fuck Nike in general, but
wait, what the fuck?
Kanye don't work for Nike. Yo, they did my man Ye dirty, son. I'm holding my steak. I'm gonna still buy that sweater though, but all right, so I don't believe in the ratio split. The ratio split. I don't think it should ever be 50-50. Because we ain't rolling into Louis Vuitton asking for 50-50.
No, it should be whatever's hot.
I don't understand.
Right?
50.
No, it's about what that company wants to target. That's their prerogative. Right, I believe in inclusion. So when you go into Louis Vuitton or any of these big fashion houses, it's like a 90-10 split. 90% of the shit in that store is for women. The men's section's in the back downstairs, next to the Demigorgon. Yeah. That's where that is. So that's what you got to deal with. And that doesn't mean they don't make suits for you. They don't make socks, wallets, hats, bags, shoes. You just got a smaller selection. I think that's on point. When I look at a company like Nike, I'm looking at the DNA. This culture came out of sports, and the biggest sports at the time were men dominated, and that's where they went for. That's where they made their bucks.
True.
And I think it's dope that Nike and other companies, but particularly Nike, I think is the biggest one that's waving his flag, went back and made women specific shit. So they're women versions of the ones. And I don't see that with any other company. So I think it's interesting you have that point of view on Nike, but I think Nike is the one that's doing it the best. Perhaps your argument is they're not doing it enough, but then also the rest of the industry, and the industry I'm talking about is industries like Nike, right? The fashion apparel industry aren't doing as good a job as Nike. They all could do more. But what I don't like is, because anytime I see pair of Air Force, Jordan 1s, that's my jam. I love Jordan 1s. If I could, I would buy a pair for me and my wife in her size. What I think is dope is every now and then they come out with some ones for women and the colorways be fucking amazing. And let's be clear, my disposition is I'm not doing the chauvinistic shit where how come they make the Travis Scotts in a smaller size that women can get, but when they make the fucking horsehair Jordan 1s, I can't get a size. That's not what I'm complaining about. What I'm complaining about is when they do make Jordan 1s for women, it's a different design that's arguably less attractive than the men's shit. That's what I don't like, but I also applaud the fact that they are putting a exclusive stamp on the one for women. Fine. That's the lesser of the evils. I'll take that. I feel like it's just the industry we're in. It's just a subgenre of fashion. Just like you wouldn't go in and no man ever in the history, like, son, you guys know me. I love high fashion. And I've been bitching for years that Chanel doesn't make shit for men. They just don't. So do you know what the fuck a lambskin or a caviar Chanel flap looks like? It's the dopest shit, the dopest leather, the dopest silhouette on chains. That's Karl Lagerfeld shit. Leather and chains. There's no men products for that. So I got to look at that. I run the risk of now I can go and buy a lambskin Chanel for myself And then when I wear it, I'll just look wild crazy because it's a woman's silhouette. So that, and there's no one stopping me from doing it because a lot of fashion forward men who may or may not be gay, doesn't matter. They do it and they do it and they pull it off. I'm not that fashion forward to where it'll fit my, what do you call it? Norm. What was that? It was norm. It was kind of like half normal fashion, but you still hitting heavy with expensive shit. I forget the genre of high fashion they call it, but
it's like a hybrid.
Right. Like you look like a fucking bum, but your shoes are still $1,500, right? So
yeah,
that's kind of like my style.
Almost like a grunge look.
Right. Very unsuspecting, but still hitting hard. Like if you know, you'd be like, oh, this motherfucker out here flexing. And if you don't know, you just look like you're wearing some shit that ain't Jordans. I don't subscribe to the fact that Chanel should be making men shit. I'm not waving that flag. Yo, they just don't make it. This shit is super dope, but they just don't make it for me. And
try Dior.
Right, Dior does make men shit. Dior is actually a closest
now
split.
They do.
Dior is probably closer to like 70-30, 70% women, 30% men. But
Armani,
Who? Armani? Same.
Armani was more men, and now they kind of it's still
same
very
split.
It's like 70-30 flipped.
Same split.
Yeah.
So I get it, and I don't feel like this is something to complain about. I'm not saying you're complaining.
Yeah.
It's not it's not on my radar because it's just a genre of fashion, and each genre of fashion has their own culture around them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, yo, if you want them, wear them. Like, to me, the only thing that comes out of the 90s, I know we have these conversations all the time about the 90s. I think the 90s trash. You guys love the 90s.
The fuck out
but what I will say is the dopest shit about the 90s was women rolling around in wife beaters, denim skirts, and Timbs. That shit does it for me. That's a look right there. I'm just like, oh, shit.
Whatever, fam.
You know, and I'm waiting for that to come back around. That's that shit where the motherfucker driving, oh, shit. I got to do a U-turn. I don't care what you doing, where you going. She got it. And she's got her little chain on with her name and shit. That's dope to me. But that's all men shit. So what? So what? If that's the look you're in, if that's the culture you're in, then you can buy the men shit. I don't think it's right to force the hand of the company that's doing it to be like, nah, you need to recreate that with women Timbs. And it's like,
definitely
but
not.
when we took
That's
that
like the
stance, when we took that
soft bottom constructions,
right? When we took that stance, the fucking shoe was trash, and not because it was designed for a woman. It just wasn't the original one, right? Because Timberland never came out with anything that was ever hitting hard like the Constructs. I don't give a fuck what they do. It's the same conversation with Uggs. Uggs make shoes for men, but those shits are trash. Which is why you see men wearing Uggs. Not fam, if you like it, that's what you got to do. I mean, the field boots were okay. You know, they hit.
And there was a brief moment that women had a run with them.
Yeah, women wore them
as well.
When we was in high school, women, they rocked out. I had no beef with it. But
it was still a men's dominated company.
And the point is here, when you talk in sports, son, there's no doubt if you were to give a top 10 athletes of all time, women would be at least 3 or 4 deep on that list. Not saying that. But when you look at the dollar amount in sports that the genders bring in, it's still stupidly tipped towards men. And that's the field you're competing in. And that demographic is driving the product you're getting. And if you think that jersey colors, and by the way, I don't subscribe to colors for genders. You get the fuck off my lawn telling me that pink is a woman, because y'all seen me in way more pink than you probably seen your wife or your girls. At one point, I had like 6 pink shirts in my closet. I got rid of them now because I'm in purging, but I got pink shirts. I got pink sweater. I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's right that when you want to make something for a woman, you got to put it in pink. Get the fuck out of here with that. And that's the shit I see that not only Nike did, but a bunch of other companies. Oh, let's make something for women. And then, do it pink, because I'm like, no, you want to make something for women? Just make the fucking Air Jordan 1 in the size they want. You know what I'm saying? Or if you want, if you want to make, speaking from Chanel, if you want to make a bag for men, just make a bigger fucking version of the bag that the women buy. Because I'm all right with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said I can't answer that question. I see where you guys are coming from, and I don't think it's wrong. But I also see the other side, and I don't think that's wrong
and
either.
just to add more light to the thing, like, yeah, we know, for instance, back to the jersey sales, right? Son, there's women jerseys for every NBA, NFL player available. Every sports team, there's a women's jersey, right? And they design it for it to fit their form, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. And that's on a professional level. What I'm saying with they haven't done enough for the sneakers like in general is that you have one thing that's always been is market research. All of our lives, for all of us have been alive, there's never not been market research. So do what you did, because I've participated in many of these surveys before the internet era, right? Yo, just do the due diligence to see what it is that they want, because what's always been, no matter who wears it, it's who's buying it, right? Look at music. Across any culture, any race, who's the number one purchaser of music? It's women. You get what I'm saying? Women check off that check box in many categories of sales. And to think that they don't want some of that.
That's why Drake came up.
Right.
He knows
exactly.
What's up.
Right. So to not give them an avenue and a thing that is like, clearly they're going to see this, right? They're gonna see it. They're gonna want their own. And why not have their own style? Because for our entire lifetime, I would say probably today more than it's ever been since I've been alive. And Tawann, you got a couple more on us, so you were able to tell from another level. Today has been the most freeing for the last 5 years, maybe even 8. Most freeing for guys to wear whatever the fuck they want. And I feel like it's not been like that, right?
I disagree, but I understand your perspective, and I think you're correct.
And it's like, okay, but like women could always wear that, and they can always say like, you know what, I could put these on, I can rock this. I've dated one woman in particular who she got off on going into men's stores because she was upset that all they needed to do was just make this with a little taper, make this with a size that at a 20, because I forget how tall she was, at like a 22 or 24 length. You know what I'm saying? Like all the,
I got smoke for that.
And then she would just go and just like whoop, tape it up, whoop, take it to her cleaners. Like she was a tailor-made person. She would buy our shit all the time. Try to steal me for a couple of my hoodies and shit back in the days, but like, and would just get it all tapered up. Everything, wherever she could get altered, she would get it altered. And that was her thing, you know. That's what she had to do in order to get it. Now, did her pioneering help later down the line? I don't know, but it probably
because she had influence on people around her.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, like we do, like, yo, you ain't up on this. She get to ultimately say it because you don't even know where I got it to be up on it, and if you did, you got to know how to either one.
You don't know how to take it home.
So, you know, and I always just felt that way with the sneakers. You can almost tell, like Kira, our homie Kira, right? Son, I can almost tell you what sneakers she's going to come around the corner with because of what she did athletically. When she wore sneakers.
That woman was a beast, boy.
You know what I'm saying? So I can almost tell you exactly what her and Lakeisha was wearing and all of them. I can almost tell you exactly what Adia was going to be wearing before it even came around the corner. And one of the things was, well, we can't really do the fashion thing because it's either Jordans or nothing. And then they were stuck to the Air Max. So they had to wear what they had to wear for performance-wise on the regular or in between to be fashionable. And that didn't really always work out well, depending on what sport it was.
Right.
Now, sorry, Tawann, I want to put a cursive on what Snow said. There are two very important things that he said there. One is the numbers. And you hear me say this all the time, right? Because people look at things, you guys know I love the Microsoft conversation. People look at the thing like, why they're fucking doing this? This is so stupid. It's stupid to you.
Right.
But you need to know that Microsoft doesn't do anything without numbers. So when you're selling something that 2.3 billion people are going to use, you need to make it work for 2.3 billion, not 200 people in the basement complaining about something. Right? That's the way it is. That's democracy. That's business. That's how that works. Majority rules. That's very important to understand. And I think a lot of people don't understand that companies like Nike understand the numbers. And we got into this conversation about manual cars, right? When we were in Discord the other day. People was like, well, because Neff was asking, yo, I heard people complaining manual cars are going away. I'm like, well, yeah, it's going away because what you're reading, you ended up on a subforum or a YouTube video or reading a magazine of somebody bitching that manual cars is going away. Meanwhile, they're one of three, right? You got the race car people who they don't give a fuck what it is. They need to go as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. And today's transmissions change, even be it a regular automatic transmission or SMG dual clutch, whatever it is, they change so much quicker than you can ever push a clutch in, which means on the racetrack, added speed because you subtracted a manual process. And the numbers are astronomical. You could never shift as fast as these cars. So why the fuck would they have a manual? And then number two, you got the regular person. The regular person ain't driving no manual. So here you are complaining about, well, I mean, you're not the regular person, right? So yeah, like your wife would not drive a man. Give a fuck about that.
I'm not.
So here you are complaining about it. And then you go to Ford and Ford says, well, fam, we made 100,000 Mustangs, which is the enthusiast car. And we only sold 50 of them that was manual. Our supply chain we can't afford to have a completely separate fork of our supply chain for something people ain't fucking buying. So that's the second part. So when Snow says she goes in and sees these jeans and all they needed to do was this and that all they needed to do equals a completely different supply chain for them. They've got to allocate a specific amount of machines to make just that different cut, only for her and her homegirls to be the only ones buying it. How is that profitable? And that's where we end up where we are. It's a lot more complex than that. Yeah. But if the culture shifts now, right? Her homegirls caught on. Now you've got the forgive me, the LB. You've got that community of people who want to dress more masculine. Not they're outwardly wanting to dress more masculine. You got them out here raising their voices. All right, cool. Now Levi's got to make something that fit them because they'll actually buy it. Then I'm on board for that. But that has not been the case for a lot of these things. A lot. And Nike, and here's where I lean on Nike, right? Because they go out there and they make a variation of the Jordan 1 and nobody buys it. Fam, why are you making a variation of it? Just make it in their size. Yeah. And that's what they do. So that's just to tie it back all in. I'm not sure we're in a bad place.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
I never disagree with that. I'm just saying footwear, I don't think they've ever put a larger emphasis on it. And maybe the time is coming. Maybe this is the time where they do that. Maybe this is the time where, those people who took those L's for buying men's sneakers can now get their shit. They
can get their with nobody looking at them.
The one thing about numbers, right, is numbers don't always show what's actually happening.
Absolutely not. Numbers are late to that game.
Numbers are always late to that game. So
numbers and trends don't get along.
And this is why, being that we're talking about sneakers and usually related to sports, the players today, some of them are hybrids, right? Some of them hybrids of what could be perceived of the bleeding of the old school, and then there's the new school. Son, they hate the analytics people.
Because they can't get what they want.
The analytics people is telling them, like, no, you should shoot, more of these from this corner and do this and this and the third. And then what you're doing is you're removing the human factor from the game with something that started with the human factor. You get it.
By the way, which is why we get Mustangs and why we get Corvettes, because they have to go against the numbers. So even then, it's a dichotomy.
It's a feeling, right? And what's the risk sometimes, right? The risk can either be a reward that's profitable. The other part of the risk,
or you could say you tried it and
you keep those stats for another time. Like, okay, well, maybe we can revisit this another time, or maybe we can tweak it based on the information that we were able to record. And I just think that in the past, I'm trying to remember, when the hell did I go to whatever the inaugural season was. Son, I've been at the WNBA games, and I've been a fan ever since. I'm not a fan of the WNBA. Last year they flipped the jerseys, or 2 years ago? Like, I'm not a fan of what they did with the jerseys, because I feel like it takes away from the league. And what I do see today is, not necessarily my little nieces and my little cousins, because they're into other things, but their counterparts, their friends of them, the ones that are playing sports, are all the way in, and I don't remember what it's like to be all the way in, because to me it just existed, but it's dope to see that on them.
Yeah. So my bad, Tawann. I gotta derail us again. Two things. The first
rails.
The first one is what Snow just said about WNBA. Great example, because in the NBA 2K, which is the basketball game, now we see they got WNBA players in the game. So to me, the parallel with this conversation is, well, why women only got to be 10% of the game? Like, something, because that's reflective of reality. But it's important. Why I say we don't challenge the ratio, but we make sure that there's inclusion. Women are in the game, and that happens because they did the numbers, and they know that a large amount of gamers are fucking women.
But only enough,
of course,
to be included into another one, because that genre isn't as large as it could be or should be.
Right.
So you got to generate interest,
dope.
because that's
I'm not
the
mad
same
at
thing
that.
NBA Live done. And if we go back even further, March Madness was the first ones to do it.
I don't remember that, but that's dope. Now, you said, I'm sorry, one more. My bad.
Well, hey, listen, I don't know how far.
At least I'm on target.
I got one more important piece. I got one more piece. Snow said something about this is the last 5 years is when men have been more freeing to do or wear what they want to wear. I agree, because I know Snow's perspective. I know what he sees. But I'm going to disagree. The last 100 years has been the most oppressive for men in fashion.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to say this because
absolutely,
it's never been a time in mankind's history when men has not worn dresses. Never. Men wore dress, and you hear it in Game of Thrones, right? You hear the Dothraki throwing shots at Jarl, whatever the fuck his name was, like, I don't understand why men wear dresses to war. He was like, this ain't no fucking dress, this is armor. And the reason they wore armor in the form of dresses is because they were more agile. They had the freedom to move. Armor pants was not a thing. You like Louis Vuitton? You like fashion house shit? Talk to me about Louis XIV. Talk to me about all those French nobles. Talk to me about all of that. They all wore fucking dresses. Men.
Yeah.
Right? It's easy to get your cock out. It's easy to keep warm in the summer. Why would you not?
Cool.
Going back to the Egyptians, men wore fucking dresses. All it was a wrap. You go to Africa, you see men in dresses today. All those tribes.
Called kente cloth.
Right? Like it's, and we have this thing, you see Young Thug in a dress and everybody loses their fucking mind. You see, so we're not as free. I'm not attacking your concept of it, Snow, but we're not as free as we should. Like, I look at this kid, Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden Smith.
Oh yeah.
This kid is so fucking dope to me. And going back to that Netflix special, I want y'all to watch. The Sam, I gotta figure it out. I'll get you guys. She spoke about Jaden, but even before that, my wife would tell you I always talk about Jaden Smith. I think it's dope how he raised both his kids.
Will Smith
Those kids do whatever the fuck they want.
Willow, yeah.
That's how you're supposed to raise your fucking kids. They do whatever the fuck they want, just for us to put them in a box. What's this fluid shit? What is this? You know what I mean? We're doing the same thing talking about women wearing Jordans. That's fluidity.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck Prince was, whatever the fuck Prince was doing, Rick James, that was fluidity. Whatever the fuck Michael Jackson was, that was fluidity. Ain't no man changing his nose. That's woman shit. But Mike did it, and you loved him. Why can't you love Jaden? Why can't you love Young Thug or ASAP? So, sorry to derail you. Go ahead, Tawann.
Well, it's all in the vein of what we're talking about. I'm going to first send some literature to you guys. You guys can read it on your own.
Can we put a link to that in the description?
You sure can.
Okay, perfect.
So it's actually a Nike news. It was advertising 40 years of women's advertising.
So they've
Son,
been
they've
rocking.
been rocking. I was specific on the sneakers.
Oh no! You misinterpret.
Okay.
40 years ago, one of the first women to be promoted was Joanne Benoit Samuelson. She was the winner of an Olympic gold medalist, 1980s.
What was her jam? Running?
She was a long distance runner.
Okay.
So that was the first time that Nike took a position on advertising towards a woman.
Okay.
All right. However, the first time they made, and mind you, it was still only sneakers for her to in her ad. All right. So what am I doing? I'm screwing up my what do you call it? Well, I don't really need it. It is what it is. So the late 80s, early 90s, so I'd say 89, 90, the first aerobic line was pushed by Nike, geared towards women.
Was this,
as I stated,
before or after Reebok was getting in their ass?
Well, I'm getting right there.
My
to
apologies.
It. So that was in direct response to Reebok, because Reebok had a strong a stranglehold on women's apparel. All right. And when what we considered women's apparel with in sportswear was aerobic wear, which has now today metamorphosized to leggings, stretch pants,
So casual wear,
shorts,
lounge wear.
all of that stuff, things that you see everybody wearing the stretch pants, the Nike stretch pants. Some women just wear them out just because it's fashionable. Other people use them for what their intended purpose, but the average person takes what has an intended purpose, and usually it's black people that do it, and we make it fashionable. All right. Hence, tennis sneakers. Hence, basketball sneakers. Hence, Jordans. I'm a news flash in case no one knew. The Jordan 1 wasn't meant to be fashionable.
Right.
It was a performance sneaker. We made it fashionable because we were wearing it and we were looking good, and we made Adidas, the Adidas Superstar Shelto fashionable. We were Converse's Pro Keds. We made all of that fashionable. So when I say women and how how the scenario goes with women and what Nike is doing currently. I feel like Nike has put their best foot forward, no pun intended, when it comes to fashion for women. And I think that Jordan Brand being a subset of Nike I think that we are doing the most today when it comes to women. As
I'll subscribe to that.
Ramon has alluded to about the scale, like not trying to go into ratio, but the common ratio is usually something for high fashion 70-30 women over men. In some other fashion houses, some of them, it, like let's say Armani, it would be reversed. Now it's still in generally still not closer to 50-50. However, I think these companies are now making great strides at promoting companies that have not already put a woman's face on the forefront. These companies are now putting their best foot forward at promoting women's sportswear as both fashionable and as athletic, its athletic uses.
Okay.
So many people, so many sportswear companies, sportswear lines, you better not put that whatever out without having a woman's line to go along with it. And I commend them, because in this day and age, at this particular time, I feel in my own heart and in my own mind of minds that, they say, well, the women are taking over. I think they've taken over. And at this point in time, because so many big businesses are still predominantly men ran and men driven.
Yeah.
It isn't it now because of you have situations like the Me Too movement. You have situations like women in politics. You have women, these high notable women in positions. You have the Oprahs, so on and so forth, that are I don't want to say making it cool, because it's bigger
they're in power. They're in influence now.
They're empowered.
Yeah.
Again, back to the first topic that we had, empowering women. I feel like that is what empowering women looks like.
That's dope.
Giving them their just due in their moment.
I subscribe to that.
That I think that is women's empowerment.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it looks
and
like.
And what you said there, I think, is important. The bit about the women are taking over. Again, that comes from a fuckface stance. Somebody that says that is, to me, on the lookout to not let them change the way things are done. They got a problem with women in power. Like, what? Why, fam? You know what I mean? Like, son, this type of shit, again, not the ratio. I think it's unfair. Just like I won't run into Chanel store and bitch about not being able to buy some shoes.
Right.
But I think that's unfair, but I think it's important that they are included. And if we look hard enough, we'll find so many instances of it, but it needs to be marketed to let women know that stuff's out there. Like, you look at the Z4, the BMW,
right?
That car is designed by women.
Yeah.
The interior is designed by one woman and the exterior is designed by another. And that's at a company that makes cars for men. And not for men. I mean, like, men who wants to fucking throw their dick around on the road. That's what a BMW is. My dick's bigger than yours. You know what I mean? And for them to be out there like, let a woman design it. That car's got woman curves, and it's like, and you look at a lot of Mercedes' newest design language. It's very curvy, very curvy. One would say It's got the curves of a woman. Yes.
Indeed.
Let it happen. So we're in a place today where it's now more than ever like, yo, just let motherfuckers rock.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to rock, let them rock. You know what I mean? Because
agreed.
There was a racist ass motherfucker in Kentucky in a corner 15 years ago. Black people taking over because his daughter's got a fucking poster of DMX up in her room. What the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, yo, this is life.
Everyone is pushing the narrative forward.
Yeah.
When it comes to equality, when it comes to understanding other people, LGBTQAI is women's rights. When it comes to women's rights, it is. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, it is. When it comes to everything, I think everything that was less important yesterday is very important today and will be extremely important tomorrow.
And it needs to be reflected in your products you buy.
Absolutely.
When you think of Nike, who do you think of today?
When I think of Nike, I think of Tinker Hatfield.
When I think of Nike, I think of Serena.
Absolutely. Another.
And I never had a problem with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If you ask me who's the face of Nike from any of the marketing I've seen come across, it's Serena shit.
Yeah. I can get with that.
When I see their commercials, you know what I mean? Like you see black people, you see women a lot more, you see amputees. Yeah. So Nike, Nike, I think Nike's banging, son. I think Nike is the leader in emotional intelligence.
Son, you said that fuck face. Did you? Yeah, because
I did, because they make the Jordan 6, and I can't get with that.
No, Jordan brand now makes a Jordan 6.
Yes, sir.
6.
Thank you for your technicalities. Thank you for your
technicalities. But
But
I
I think
still Nike.